For every climber who's good in a certain specialised style, there'll be someone better in a different style. So it's quite cool in that there can be like no master of climbing. Were to define mastery, I'd say it would be a collective endeavour from climbers, and in order to contribute to this, a climber would have their very much specialised style, find a bit of rock which reflects that really well and challenges them to a point where they require a lot of like perseverance and time dedication to this long climb, and then that climb in itself becomes their contribution towards like mastery within climbing. Something which has inspired me and definitely given direction to a lot of my climbing is this idea of making my own contribution to this collective idea of mastery within climbing.
Come on. Oh my god! Good effort! That was incredible!
The year of 2020 was really where I opened my eyes up to my local environment and was really able to apply myself onto local projects. And it was a really productive and fulfilling year of climbing. I also felt like I learnt to appreciate the gifts of the landscape, and with it gained a respect for the natural world which has felt to govern much of my way of life, alongside perhaps some of my aspirations for the future too. At the tail end of 2021, I had a few projects left around the lakes. There's a well-known project which I've known about for years and tried a little bit over the years when I was growing up. It's very crimpy, but the crimps aren't sewing cut. They're quite like slopey and require you keeping your weight really close to the wall just because you can't rise too far above the holds. So it requires like some quite static movement.
Come on.
Go on.
Come on.
Come on. Go on. Come on. Hey.
Nice. Ugh, that was numbing out all the way up.
That's pretty impressive.
I didn't expect that at all.
It was all a bit tense at the end there, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. Climbing's quite fun actually, when you're doing stuff. Right hand to this, and then you do like a really deep lock to that edge, but it's abysmal edge, and I broke off a little crystal on it now to your last. It's more skin friendly, but way worse.
It's very simple. It's like kind of just like right, left, right. Revolves around really deep locks between really bad holes.
That's impossible. Come on. I mean, like, kind of like serrated the end of my index a little bit, but I was expecting to see
blood.
blood, yeah.
I tried Truffles on Bicycles at the end of 2020 and I did find it really hard. So it was nice to display obvious progression from 2020. That almost marked the end of the hard known projects I had around the Lake District. I got a dog, Herbert. That presented me with many opportunities. Obviously, he's a pup and so requires a lot of walking, and so has almost facilitated my boulder exploration sessions more so. Oh yeah, like just to the right of the screen.
Yeah,
side.
the notch on the skyline goes straight down, and that's the bluff. There are three ways I describe knowing of bouldering development. You've got known knowns, which are obvious projects at known crags that people have got close to. That's Great End, that's Broad Crag.
Yeah.
We should be able to see it, but actually it's facing away from us like this. Known unknowns are there's good rock there's a good boulder or something like that, so you know that some of the preconditions are there, but you don't know if there's actually going to be a hard project. And then you've got unknown unknowns, which are you're just looking at something totally new.
The logistics of looking for boulders is non-trivial itself. Generally, it's quite easy to look at a picture of something from the comfort of your armchair on Bing Maps or something, but the actual logistics of turning up and going and looking for these things is quite challenging.
It's you can't even find a little version in the lakes, can you? And then you go and find the flipping
Monster.
yeah, the giant whale shark of an overhang. See, there's another cleft over there. There still are likely to be some really hard things in the lakes, but the lake's rock type is frustrating in that it produces really variable hold sizes. Over 90% of the climbs will emerge with a big hold somewhere, and then suddenly that's killed the difficulty of the climb. Aidan's got all the time to dial in what can be done with climbing and what's possible. It's really hard to do that on a local level anywhere, I think, because if you don't broaden your brush, you'll soon be spending a lot more time walking and searching for things than you are trying to get hard projects done. That's fine if you're happy walking across moors and basically not going climbing, but if you want to go climbing and climb hard, then really you need to find areas that are receptive to ability level.
In light of this idea of making some contribution to climbing mastery, it felt obvious to me to look elsewhere for the bits of rock which would facilitate this. And Switzerland was an obvious place in which to explore. The geology of it lends itself to harder climbing and harder quality climbing as well. It seems like the lines of highest quality are often also the hardest climbs, which feels like a really unique feature of that area. I actually first visited Ticino in Switzerland in spring, and the start of the trip it was very much sampling all the classics around the area, and then I developed my own projects of things which I found there, and upon completing those I was shown this climb, Alphane, which was still a project at the time by all the American crew of people that I knew from when I visited Colorado in 2019. Yeah. There's a very nice attitude around that group, and so it was just fun to be climbing with them, and the moves were fun, and it was quite a nice feeling to walk away from every session feeling really physically tired and also learning a lot about the subtleties of every move. Essentially I made really obvious linear progression to the point where I stuck the last hand move, and there's a hard foot transition before you're into the easier climb, and I stuck that hand move but didn't feel good enough on the holds, so I kind of end up coming down. Even not doing that climb didn't feel like a failure. It felt like a really valuable experience for me, really sociable, and I do believe it made me a better climber.
As with any good sporting event, the preparation did not go to plan.
I actually picked up a finger injury during a trip to Scotland, and that was quite a long-lasting finger injury. It really impeded the way I could train. I couldn't really climb onto a board as I usually would, and couldn't prepare as I'd have liked to for this climb.
But we never really worried too much, or I never worried too much. I think every year he's done really well, and every time he's had a peak performance, it's been off the back of something going slightly wrong. With finger injuries and with illness, it's all about trying to keep him nice and relaxed and know that he's on the right path. Aidan had this performance within him physically and mentally, and it was all about arriving in a good state physically and mentally to just give it a really good go and enjoy the process, because I really believed he had it in him.
Yeah, and then you just put the foot straight out, just lock it, this thing.
I've actually known Will for years. We used to do youth comps together. He's mostly an outdoor boulderer these days as well. Really early on in the development of Alphane, Will was there trying it with Sean and Dave Graham.
At the time when I tried them, I was like, I don't know, it was pretty warm, it was super humid. I was on these boulders that were like so far above what I'd done before, and I was like, this is just silly. Like, I was like, I don't even know if these are possible. Like, never mind if I can do them. When Sean released his Alphane film earlier in the year, I watched it, and I was like, before watching it, I was like, right, don't get psyched. This wasn't the boulder for you. And I watched it, and I got so flipping psyched watching it. I was like, oh man, this climb just looks incredible. I need to train and go back for it.
So it seemed a really obvious idea to both go on a trip together. Inevitably, the first few sessions were like re-familiarising myself with the moves. Whoa! It became obvious quite quickly that physically I was actually stronger than I was back in spring. Throughout the sessions, the links got longer quite quickly. I think by my third session, I'd done it from 2 moves in, which was like a really promising link for me.
It was really cool on this trip that he could share the process with Will, who is another peer for him, who is someone of a different style, but really strong as well, who they can bounce off each other. They know they're climbing really well.
Alice, come on. Really good. Come on.
Come on, Will.
Come on.
Come on, Will. Yeah, come on. I'm slipping so bad on that left hand. That was a great link. That was good.
I've never really had before where I've gone with someone and we're both sort of similar level trying the same sort of thing, like the same project, and both just working a way to find the best way up it and make it work. And it's just being able to like play off each other and find these little things that I guess you wouldn't notice otherwise. I think that's like, yes, it's super useful. I think if you can go out climbing with people that are similar level to you, it will make a big difference.
If they can both get over this whole undergrading British thing, then I think both of them will be outperforming everyone and doing some of the hardest things in the world, which will be amazing for both of them to ride off each other.
Acknowledging that the physicalities weren't necessarily the limiting factor when I was trying it in spring, I felt it important to maybe address my psychology. So I started having regular sessions with Hazel discussing the topic of my mindset.
Obviously a lot of people just focus on physical training, and that's kind of like the norm in our sport, to just like try and get stronger and fitter. And then also we understand that we need good technique to climb. A lot of people have the intuition around, but maybe don't have loads of knowledge around, is like how you use your attention in the moment really matters. So we all have experiences where like we felt really distracted when we've climbed, and like that doesn't feel good, and we generally don't feel connected to our body, and we usually don't perform very well when we feel distracted. Whereas like when we're really focused, or like we're in flow and everything feels automatic and you feel really in tune with your body, and your kind of body's just moving, and it just feels like almost effortless, even though you're doing like the hardest thing you've ever done. That's not random. Like there are things you can do to get into that state of mind and have that degree of focus.
feels like such a head game now. Like, it's just like, I know it's there, I just gotta like not miss it. Ah, God, I'm not gonna sleep a wink tonight, mate. It's like, now that I know I can, like, feels like I should because I could. When I'm trying a project the next day, like that night I go to bed, if it's something that I've obviously been on and I think it goes ascending, like I just have to go through it like 3 times in my head. Yeah, if I do that too close to bed. Yeah, but then you don't sleep, but I can't. But that's the thing, I'm not sleeping because I'm psyched to try this. So I'm like, oh, I might as well go through it. And then you get more excited. And then it's like, in the morning you're like, what am I doing, you know? I honestly think first go he's just gonna do it. Like,
First go today?
yeah. I don't know, like, it looked like first go the other day was his best go, and he looked so chill on the moves, like warming up. I think, I don't know, it's hard to know, but I'm pretty confident.
Despite all the nerves from the night before, I think the thing that really like displayed development for me as a climber is that once I stood below the start holds and was pulling on for those attempts from the start, I had a very clear mind and I was acting without attachment to my result.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. Come on, Evan. Come on. Nice, you got it. Come on. Yeah, come on. Yes, Aiden, come on. Come on, dude, you got this. Come on. You can get her, come on. Nice. Come on, Aiden. Stick with it. You're good, dude. Come on. Come on. Come on, Aiden. You're there. Come on. Come on, get it. Yeah, that's it. Come on. Stick with it. Yeah, come on. Come on. Nice. Well done. Okay, go. Come on. Yes. Let's go, dude. Oh my god! Good effort! I can't believe it. No, that was so nice. That was a cool experience.
Who have you told?
I haven't told anyone yet. I was gonna, probably first on the list, I was gonna message Ollie.
To be honest, I knew he could do it 100%. I had full confidence, but as soon as he messaged me, it was like I'd tick my own project. It was just as good as doing my own climbing. I don't think this is 100% effort for Aiden whatsoever. I think it's great that he's done this, and I think he's really pushed himself in executing the problem. But he had a little bit of wiggle room in his top end performance to get this done.
For me, Alphane was kind of like a real turning point for me in that it really made me understand the resonance of like aligning one's physical potential and like how to optimize that. But with Alphane, it was funny in that the attempt when I actually did it, it felt relatively effortless, and in my head, like, there is a potential for a climb to require so much optimization of like method, but the go in which you execute it, every move feels like right near your limit, and theoretically I think like that climb should exist somewhere.
See that? What's that?
Come on, come on, come on.
What's that?
Come on.
See that?
Come on.
Good.
Come on.
Sit.
Hey!
Cheers.
That was good to watch.
Oh man. After Will was able to climb Alphane, we made a decision not to climb in that cave. We'd spent a lot of time there. And so it was nice to look elsewhere for things which captivated our interest.
Boulder number 2 of the trip. It's been pretty good so far. That's one of the best boulders I've ever done. Well, I've done the crux bits now, but I can't really hold that hold anymore.
That one though.
Yeah, potentially. They're not through,
I go up and I'm like,
but they're like
spam and then
just getting pretty thin.
I'll look at your heel this time.
Ooh, primo split territory.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
First curve from the ground.
Yeah. I cannot even believe it, you know. It looked like 7A or something, like, okay, it's good. Just keep climbing. First go.
Yeah, that looks super casual.
Yeah, it looked way too casual.
Stairway to Heaven, where does it rank on your list of best boulders you've ever done?
It's surely up top 5, maybe top 3.
Yeah, I think top 3 for me as well.
Yeah.
That you've ever done?
Yeah.
That's yeah, a big statement from you guys.
And just in terms of quality of movement, line, setting.
Good, Aiden. Come on. Yeah. Come on. That's it. We've got this. Come on. Good. That's it. Nice, Aiden. Good work.
It's good.
If you're playing field, wouldn't it? It's like a floor. Dislocations, they're a lot harder to recover from. You like to work more.
I just climbed Vecchia. One of the most famous boulders in the world.
Vecchia warm-up.
Quite a savage warm-up.
V13 is quite a hard warm-up.
But it meant I was warm by the time I got to the crux.
Vecchio stand start was actually the first climb I did in Ticino when I was out there back in spring. There's like an infamous sit start to it.
Yeah, come on.
Which looks quite obvious. It looks like it would be a simple jump to this edge. It was quite a collaborative process as well. Sean was really keen to try that thing. It was really nice puzzling that out, like sharing ideas.
Yeah, come on.
So I had a session on it where I'd just about done both of the moves, but both of them felt incredibly low percentage and unreliable, and so stringing them together felt extremely unlikely.
Come on. Come on. That was better. Come on. Allez. Come on. Come on. Come on, Aiden.
Oh, that's so glassy on there. No. I was moving on the left hand loads for the first move.
Come on, Aiden. Come on, Aiden. Come on.
No.
Oh, God damn it.
I'd often worked that in conjunction with Poison the Well, which was another climb that I was really keen to do whilst I was out there.
Oh, okay, yeah, that was good.
You stopped it at that
really
time.
good.
But I also think you could maybe just put your foot here.
I'm gonna take you in a grabbing position.
Yeah. It felt very possible. I was really tired that day, so I didn't actually go from the start. But a little passing comment from Sean, he was like, oh, like, you could definitely do both of these in a day, which I never really considered as like a challenge in itself. I guess he was kind of right, like physically, like I had the potential to do both of them in the day, and realistically, Poison felt far more attainable for me that day.
Come on.
Come on. Come on, dude. Come on.
Come on.
Hello. Come on.
Come on, Maggie.
Yeah, good. I got you, bud. Good, Aiden. Yeah, man. Nice one. Good effort, mate.
Nice.
Oh, like I was dreaming. Yes. I had doubts about that one. That was hard. Yeah, I definitely like kind of like felt myself like very immersed in the experience until I got the jugs, and then was like, you know, when you like have a chill because you're like trying to like just steady yourself, and like obviously because you're chilling on jugs and like kind of the difficulty doesn't like necessitate it, you kind of like snap out of that like kind of flow state, and then I tensed up and freaked out, but it was alright, and we topped out that 5+ mantle or whatever. 2 days later, I went back to try Vecchio Sit and actually did it second go that day, so it was really fresh. And in my head, like, that was the harder of the two. I hadn't really thought about this like challenge until that time, when I'd done that and been like, oh wow, like last session when I was really tired, I felt like I could have done Poison. So yeah, I ended up heading over to Poison and found myself with the attitude very much of like wanting to do this climb. I was definitely quite attached to the result in that moment, and I think that offered a distraction, and also like it was quite a consistent thought in my mind throughout the start of that session, and it really detracted from like the actual enjoyment of the process.
Oh man.
I don't usually get frustrated when I'm climbing, but I think this like very result orientated approach really didn't work well for me actually. I was getting annoyed, and I was climbing poorly, and found myself like quite agitated and distracted.
I think everybody can get sucked into looking at the finish line and the banners, and you sort of see all the praise, and then inevitably if you fall short of it, it's like there's a giant canyon of despair that because you didn't hit those expectations.
I took like half an hour break, and like it was a moment where I like really realized like, oh wow, like you've become attached to the idea of doing both of these climbs, and like that is like affecting you in the moment when you're on the wall. I just need to climb in the moment and be able to detach from this idea of doing both of these climbs.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on. Come on, Din.
Come on, Aiden. Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
Come on, Aiden. Get it. Come on.
Come on, Aiden.
Spot
Got
it, dude.
what?
Come on.
Come on.
Good effort, man.
I was actually able to do that, and I had like the best go I'd had, and I did the crux move and actually dropped the kind of like the last move to the last hard move anyway. You'd kind of anticipate where I frustrated before, I'd be even more frustrated then, but it felt like in that moment I had like managed to dissociate myself with like the attachment of doing both of those climbs, and as a result it wasn't frustrating, and it was kind of like nice to have had that realization. When I was like initially climbing in Switzerland and doing all my training and getting inspired by all these climbs, I did know in the back of my mind there was the opportunity there somewhere quite local to me. When I was younger, I would always travel through North Wales with my family, so it was a scenery which was very familiar. The mountains and the lakes, the tranquility, and even the sheep, it feels a lot like home. I was aware of this project, Isles of Wonder, which is like a really amazing prow sitting in North Wales in Ogwen Valley. There's a stand start that's been developed by Pete Robbins a handful of years ago. It's kind of well known that there's a sit start project to it. I knew it was of a like higher quality enough, and it hadn't been climbed, so it offered this opportunity to make this contribution to climbing. So I tried it when I initially did the stand back in 2021. It was amazing, like it's so obvious, like the holds were all there. They look relatively good. They're just in such direct opposition, and the feet are either too low or too high, that it's just unbelievably physical. I tried puzzling it out a lot, and like there was no way to avoid a ruthless shoulder move. From trying it back in 2021, I knew that like I was definitely limited by my strength in this shouldery position anyway. I could only really have like 4 or 5 goes on that move in a session, and that would be followed by like 3 or 4 days of like very intense muscle soreness. So I knew that I required some physical preparation for this boulder, so I set up a replica, not of the whole climb, but pretty much just of this one move.
Aidan probably adapts to training better than any climber I've worked with, or equal to any climber I've worked with. He's got a very set style, but there's all these nuanced elements to it which we've worked more over the years in a really specific manner when he's been injured or when he's had a specific project that's shown me that there's so much room to grow.
I had that replica up for maybe 3 weeks or so, and had a couple of sessions a week, and I'd only have a short session, and initially I could only have the same 4 or 5 goes, and I'd just have so much muscle soreness afterwards. But gradually, as I started having a few more sessions on it, it started getting to the point where I didn't really feel it on the following days kind of thing, and then I could start having more goes during my sessions. And this was really obvious when I actually got to the boulder.
Easy. That felt fine. Easiest that move I felt.
Oh, excited. Nervous, excited.
It would maybe hard 8C to get to the stand start, and then the stand itself is about 8B. I was really reliable on the stand start. The sessions when I was working it, I'd usually do it a few times at the end of the session, and it was quite rare that I'd drop it. It felt really reliable. Maybe I'd do it 4 out of 5 times kind of thing.
Oh, that was good.
Closest go yet, man.
Yeah, that was good.
Come on, Aidan. Come on, mate.
Yes, come on.
Come on. Perfect, come on.
Come on, you got this. Come on, you got it. Come on.
Oh, wow! Wow!
I squeezed all the blood out of my fingers. Oh.
Come on. Come on, Aidan. Really good.
Come on, you got it.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's a round of applause like that.
Yeah, I definitely remember standing on top of that just thinking wow, this is maybe the best boulder I've ever done. And yeah, it was a pretty special moment.
It's the best climb I've ever developed. Oh, God.
Best climb you've ever done.
It probably is.
Mastery really is never ending. Aidan's looking for something that really challenges his strengths to see if he can kind of fully master that style, I suppose.
The UK is good, isn't it? You don't get many places around the world where you do a really hard boulder and you have a view like that.
Looking out there.
Yeah. But it's an interesting concept, right? Because he might find that, and someone like Aidan, those problems don't exist. He'd probably have to find them. But I think it's naive to think that that will be the end of the story, you know. He'll find something hard and it will be a really cool journey, but the whole point of mastery is that it is something that never ends. It'll be interesting to see, you know, what comes after that and what comes after that and how he develops as a climber.
It's been a process definitely of learning about climbing specifically, but also what's important to me within that. There are aspects which I've experienced from these different climbs in which I've been so invested in doing, which feel really special. I believe there are climbs out there which bring together and it further epitomise these avenues of climbing which feel like they hold so much intrigue to me. And now it feels like it's somewhat of a search to look for that thing where all these factors align, and it's for sure out there.